And now, ladies and germs, our next eulogist is a digitally animated character. He's a character, alright, that needs no introduction, so without further ado, here he is.
Thank you. What can I say about this lovely lady that hasn't already been said? Much like an uncontradictory paradox, I think that the real irony lay in the fact that she truly loved life. She was the youngest of 7, with 3 brothers and 4 sisters, 2 of whom were older than her, but they still really looked up to her. In fact, they put her on a pedestal, and although they were very mean to her growing up, they'd never put her down, which was part of why she had a very isolated upbringing. She was very sharp-witted, never a dull moment, but she was as blunt as a blackjack, which, most of the time, put her in a lot of trouble. The rest of the time, it put trouble in a lot of her. Most knew her as particularly bright, but only I knew her to be incredibly reflective and introspective, as well as introspective and extrospective, unbelievably spective. She was a very active spectator. She was a good listener, but a great looker. She had 4 eyes, which made her twice as enlightened as anyone I've ever met, and as such, she would always be there to offer me a shoulder to cry on. As a matter of fact, that's why they say she had a good head on her shoulders. She was a great conversationalist, but she could never take a compliment unless it was paid to her, and even then she wouldn't give you your change. She refused to admit that she was being stubborn, which made it impossible to win an argument that she was being defensive. Come to think of it, she would also lie constantly, but she'd tell you that everything she said was a lie, which honestly made you question her constancy and rectitude. But it was a rhetorical question, of course. She truly was beautiful, though, and if, as they say, truth is beauty and beauty is only skin deep and in the eye of the beholder, then I guess her beauty was only perceived to be true. And if it wasn't true, then it definitely wasn't perceived, and, by all means, not beautiful. Thankfully, this was not the case. But, I tell you, she was truly a paradox, but she wasn't. I would now like to leave you with a rhyming haiku that I wrote for her. My darling, you're gone, and yet I'm dry as a bone. I think that we're done. Seriously, it rhymed on paper. Thank you. Enjoy the rest of the funeral.
Most triumphant.